much, interestingly enough. The Russell's only up 1%. The S&P is up 3.3%, and the 2.5%. So the Nasdaq just exploded. But when you hit the 5% rule, the chance of going past that is very slim, and that's right about here. 11.8 is the 5% rule. So you can pretty much short that line. I mean, we're right there now. So in fact, why don't we do that? Just for illustration purposes. Charts, nope. Trade, active trader, Nasdaq. See if we get a fill. Oh, no, see how fast it. Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm gonna fill too. What? That's how fast it's moving. I wasn't careful about my entry. Where's my other one? How did I get that fill? All right, well, if it pops up a bit, I'll average into it at 11.8. If it doesn't pop, I'll be in good shape, so either way. But that's crazy. $500 the second I entered it. I think I didn't put a limit order in. I think it had the market. That was bad. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. Oil is flying higher. How's gasoline doing? Got 11,784, and I was trying to do 11.8. All right, whatever. All right, gasoline $1.10. That's way up from where it was. Wouldn't short gasoline though, but let's take a look at the EIA and see how that came out before we get into the evil political picture. This today? That's not today. What is with these EIA reports? Seriously? What are they just not bother printing them anymore? Today is Wednesday, right? Let's see if we go to Seeking Alpha and we see if we can find their 1030 report. I think this is up to date. Yeah, it is. Here you go, 1024, 1015, 1024. There it is. Woo, look at that. 8 million barrel drawdown. So a little bit, the gasoline distillates cancel each other out, right? So an 8 million barrel draw is good. That's a good reason for oil to pop. That's nice. They finally got a good drawdown, and oil went from, here's the report at 1030. So oil went from 38 up to 39. We gained $1 off of that report. So that was pretty serious. Oh, wait, what's going on here? That's weird. All right, anyhow, so, well, I mean, you know, to me, the political thing is a moving target. I don't really think there's any point in discussing it much, as important as it is to everything. But is that, I mean, why are we up? We don't even know who's president. We don't even have a properly decided deal here. It's like either one of them could still win. Yet the market is exploding like something great happened. And I'm dumbfounded as to what it could be. I guess the country didn't burst into flames, and this is kind of a relief rally that people were expecting something horrible to happen. I don't know exactly why this is happening. What was I going to look up just now? We were talking about the oil, and then I said we don't have to talk about that. Oh, the political thing, right? Okay. Election map. I think BDC was just telling me how the Fox map is the best one. Interactive college map. So here's what's going on, kids. We got no totals. This is useless. How is this useful? President. All right. So the undecideds are here. Pennsylvania, 64% of the vote. That can't be right. North Carolina 94. Trump's up by 1. Trump's up by 8 with 64% counted. Trump's up by 2 with 95% counted in Georgia. And Nevada, Joe Biden is up by a point. That's not going to do it. Wait, no, we forgot about Michigan. And Biden's up in Michigan. Oh, that does make it so close. Holy crap. Wow. Okay. Expected votes. So these are, okay, Pennsylvania. Wisconsin's done, basically, apparently. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Alaska. Oh, I forgot about Alaska. Trump leads by 30 points in Alaska. Holy crap. That's crazy. All right, so Michigan's got 10. Nevada's got 8. That's 16. That ain't going to do it. Then Pennsylvania's got 20, 15, and 16. So, and I think 224 for Biden needs 270. So how do you get 270? Let's see. 270 means he needs 36 points. You got to get Pennsylvania and one of these guys. That's how the only way to win is to get Pennsylvania and one of these guys. You really can't put it together very easily. If you won Georgia and North Carolina and Michigan, you still have to win Nevada. You really got to sweep. Whoever wins Pennsylvania is basically going to win it, almost certainly. So there you go. So we just got to wait for Pennsylvania to be counted. Trump is up by a lot, though, in Pennsylvania. He's actually only up, last I looked, though, by 600,000 votes. That was earlier this morning, though. So I guess if we click on Pennsylvania and find out what's happening, no, you can't do that. Stupid thing. Why can I not click on Pennsylvania and find out what's happening? Nope. Here's Arizona. Oh, 238 they got him with Joe Biden. Oh, yeah, well, that's a little closer. That means he only needs 32 points to win. So he doesn't need Pennsylvania. That's interesting. He'd have to do good in the other states, though. This is crazy how tight. It's so tight, though, it's going to get recounted. I guess that's what the market likes, and nothing's going to happen. You know, it's just going to get recounted and refinished and everything else. So we will see how that goes. Let's see. Matt says Wisconsin, Michigan, and Nevada win it for Biden. And SK says if Biden gets Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Michigan, well, obviously, that's a lot. If he gets every state that's contested except Pennsylvania, yes, that would do it. But realistically, it's not likely. So like the other elections, so Biden's up by 3 million votes. Not enough to give you the presidency, though. Just because you win the popular vote doesn't mean you get the presidency. That's the rules in America. Let's see what else is happening. So oil blasted up, that's blasted up, gasoline's blasting up, natural gas is still low, hurricanes, I don't know if we're done with hurricanes, but we had a lot of hurricanes. They were digging deep into the Greek alphabet. How many hurricanes? Could set a record. 25 storms. The average is 12. That's crazy. But we haven't had any big ones. It's just been a lot of named storms, but they haven't been any really huge ones. But that is really a crazy amount. I mean, I've never heard of these Greek letters that they've been hitting us with. 24 latest estimates broken the storm for the earliest formation by storm number. Unprecedented activity fueled by an ongoing La Nina. So that's interesting. Oh, here you go. So they got all these A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. There's no Q. R, S, T, no U, V. And they don't do W, X, Y, Z. No, there's a W. There's Wilfred. And after Wilfred, there's no X, Y, Z, I guess. Then they go to Alpha, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Zeta, and Eta. I don't know my Greek alphabet. So there you go. And I guess they got some more letters to go if we have to. Zeta, Eta. And oh, that's interesting if they stopped at that point. Isn't that crazy though? So I guess after that we should do all the saints' names or something like that. But this has been a hell of a hurricane season, but nothing really damaging. But the thing is, even so, every time a storm goes into the Gulf, they evacuate all the platforms and slow down production. So look at all these. See how big that can go. There we go. So every time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 storms at least made it into the Gulf, and then anytime it goes into the Gulf, they don't know what way it's going to go. So they shut down all the oil production in the Gulf of Mexico. And that's what causes natural gas to go all over the place. And there's a huge amount of storms forming. It's just incredible hurricane season. You know, and that's because global warming, the ocean is warmer now, and it's causing the faster motion, the air moves faster, and that causes storms to form. And anything that would have been a storm that died out doesn't die out, and it just keeps going. And they say a few degrees warmer, and with all these storms become more and more powerful and become incredibly destructive. We'll find out. There's no stopping it now. Speaking of things you can't stop, let's see. Wait. This is 2 weeks ago. Did we not update this last week? See, I really didn't feel like talking about the virus last week. So 2 weeks ago, we were at 8.3. Oh, wait. Remember how I do this? Where's my calculator? There it is. So it's 8.3 million total global cases, 221. What? That's not global deaths, that's US deaths. 221,000 US deaths. No. Wait, what the hell? Nope, it's not gonna let me go behind that. 221,000 US deaths. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's running, keeping running total. Plus, what was the other number we were doing? Global cases? That's not global cases. That's why. That's just US cases. Ah, I see what I did. So we got to refresh the whole thing. All right. Jesus Christ. 47 million. You're killing me. 9.4 million. This is in 2 weeks, people. We went from 8.3 to 9.4 in 2 weeks. You know that I start off not wanting to talk about this stuff, but then I realize holy shit. Wow. And we just voted for 4 more years of this. You know, without giving Biden a mandate in the Senate to really make changes, and without getting Congress behind him to do this stuff, we're not going to do it. We're still not going to be able to fix this virus shit. We had 1 million additional infections, 1.1 million additional infections in 14 days. We're just under 100,000 people a day. That is freaking scary. That's not bad. We went from 221,000 deaths 2 weeks ago to 232. So only 1,000 people are dying. But the problem is, look how fast we went up. So from early October, we were only having, what is this number? These weeks? 9/11. Oh, these days. Oh, you got to do your own math. This is annoying. All right. So 9/15, 283, 9/17, 9/18, 323, 20,000. So there were only 20,000 people a day. Oh, this might be globally though. Then got to go to America. Let's try to figure this out. I like to live in America. Da, 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 da. All right. That makes more sense. Okay, so here we are. So a couple of weeks ago, come on, move. Very hard to get this thing to work right. Around here, oh, there we go. Look at that. Something refreshed itself. So here we are. We only went from 49 on the 7th, 349, 254, 896. I don't know. How am I going to do this? It's really not responsive for some reason. On the 9th, it looks like it says 360, 890. And if we go back to the 2nd, if we can, if it works. Geez, 10-2. Just around there. 10-3, 320, 022, 10-3. Now let's see if we can find 10-10. 10-9, doesn't want to find it. 10-13, oh, there you are. 330, 887. So roughly, shit, 2955. 2955. 360. So from 295 to 360 is 65,000 people in about a week. So there it was 10,000 people a day. We're now hitting 100,000 people a day. That's freaking crazy. That doesn't make sense. Let's see if we can make this chart bigger somehow. Figure out what it actually is. Whoa, geez. I mean, is this the US? Dashboard center. I don't know. See if we can reset it. All I know is this is a raw number. That's the one that counts. 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2 weeks. Let's see if maybe it's not a bit. So 2 weeks ago, we were at 9.4. No, that's right. It seems crazy. We added 1.1 million people infected in the US in 10 days, in 2 weeks. It's just staggering. The total amount of people ever infected in China is still under 100,000. Where's China? There, 91,000. That's still the number of total people ever infected in China. We now do this every day. And yet, this is the market. This is just batshit crazy, people. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I would advise just being really careful about this. You gotta, take all this shit with a grain of salt because this is messed up. Let's see. So that's that. And let's just see where the portfolios are. I mean, I honestly, it's so stupid the way the market's acting right now. It's hard to even, what's this? I'm sure our portfolio is doing fantastic. We killed the short-term portfolio. That's not the new one, so I have to fix that and put the new one in. The butterfly portfolio is probably not really up 155% because see this Apple, those got zeroed out. That has to be fixed. Oh no, actually that might be the right prices. Wow. Seems excessive. Those might, oh no, that's what's messed up. These short calls got zeroed out. Oh, because they were the October short calls. We didn't do the roll. We have to log in the roll for it. That's why. So that's a big difference because that's a $50,000 thing. But anyway, so it's doing very well, the butterfly portfolio. The dividend portfolio, that's only doing 5.1% because some of these guys got beaten up. The dividend stocks aren't performing well. The earnings portfolio, though, that's doing pretty well, I think, 78%. Just good solid stocks. We got Walgreens, Boots, Macy's, Intel, even though Intel's actually hurting us. HBI, Gilead, also down recently. ACB is not hurting us too badly right now. Here's our hedge, SQQ, which we should have taken off also. We should have cut that when it was good. iRobot and H&R Block is still in there, all good. Future is now, as I know, is going gangbusters. 70%, very nice. Only a few stocks in that one. Long-term portfolio is up about 100%, I believe. 105, up 5 this morning, up 5 today. That makes sense. It's pretty much tracking the market. These are all our basic long-term positions, and we were happy with them. We're so happy with them, we didn't take them off. We just added hedges. Money Talk, 23%. We rode out the crash, and we'll see how it goes from here. And then we have the newsletter portfolio. That's up 11%. We only just started that one in August. And the short-term portfolio, oh yeah, we killed that. That's right. Okay, so we're done. All right, so now, I mean, everything's going great. What are you going to do? It's like, I mean, how is it not going to go great when the market just goes up and up and up? I mean, any long position, it's hard to lose money on it unless you're shorting something. And even our Tesla shorts and things like that are doing okay because Tesla's not doing gangbusters. Made a little run up today and then pulled back, but I think they'll get back on. We'll see what happens to them. And Google's crazy. We had a short play on Google, and they've gone completely nuts. I think we have the 1,800 short calls. I figured it wouldn't break out of this range after earnings. And here we are up from 15. I was like, it's not going to go up 20%. It's up like 6% today. But those can be rolled. And look, it's not like it doesn't go to the top of the range. It's just not going to stay there. And that's why you short the calls. So, we just talking about Intel today. Here's Apple. Apple's, realistic at this price. It's not great. I was hoping it would come down more, but this market surge is taking it back up. They're adding 4% in a day. It's a $2 trillion company growing by 4% in a day. I'm not sure why it's being slow. I think Intel's a hell of a bargain. I think it's crazy not to buy it down here. I know, everybody's like around, they'll figure it out. So if you want to get in on a chip company, instead of chasing AMD up 100%, how about take Intel before it goes up? That makes more sense, right? And $46 on the Intel, if I can go to Yahoo, go to this Yahoo, INTC. That's not Intel. It's $187. It is a PE of 9. That's only 9 times earnings at $187 billion. And then you got to look back on the financials and say, well, how much do they usually earn? Because you're saying $20 billion. They made $20 billion back in 2017. They made 23. Where are we? They made 23. They made 24. So basically, this is already planning that their earnings, it's saying 9 times earnings. It's already saying that the earnings are going to be lower than they were last year, lower than the year before, which is fine. I could accept that during the pandemic. But are they not going to recover at some point? Are they not going to get back on a growth path? How bad are things for Intel? So, it's always fun to look for all these different stocks and be like, what do I play here? And what do I play there? And what's good for Biden? And what's good for Trump? But Intel is good as long as we are ever going to use chips. They're a leading chip maker. They make chips. They will always make chips. People like to think they know a lot about a company because you're familiar with it, like Intel. But if you think about like Micron or Samsung or something like that, they make chips too. And sometimes their competitor makes a better chip, and sometimes the competitor makes a worse chip, and sometimes they have a better production cost, and sometimes they have lower production cost. But when you invest in Micron, you tend to leave it alone because it's not within your expertise to think about it. But with Intel, everybody starts going, oh, well, this one, this chip is doing this, and AMD is doing that, and NVIDIA is doing that, and blah, blah, blah. Like everybody's a freaking expert. But it doesn't matter. It's a chip. It's a basic integral part of a computer. And it matters a little bit whether who's got the best chip and this and that and who's got the best cost. But Intel's strategy is to make money. And having the best chip and the fastest chip doesn't always mean you're going to make money. Having the chip that you can produce at a reasonable price and sell in very large quantities, that's the sweet spot. And with memory chips, people understand that. But apparently with processing chips, people lose their minds. But there are processors in everything. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the Internet of Things. Your cable box has a processing chip. Your TiVo or whatever, DVR has a processing chip. Your TV has a processing chip. My mother's refrigerator has a chip now. It's got a freaking computer screen on it. Your car has a processing chip on it. A lot of your kids' toys have processing chips on it these days. That is what the Internet of Things is. There are things that have chips everywhere. And Intel makes a lot of those chips. And those chips don't have to be bleeding edge chips. The market for regular run-of-the-mill chips is a lot bigger than the market for this cutting edge stuff that everybody's worried about with Intel. That high margin chip game, they still play it because it's a prestige thing, but that's not how you win the game. You know, you win the game by having massive sales and so on and so forth. So when I see Intel and I say, oh my God, that's attractive to me, it's not because I think Intel is going to be 90. I don't really care if it's going to be 90, but it's not going to be lower than 45. That's what I care about. I'm saying come rain or shine, this company can justify that valuation. And then I look over here and I say, oh my God, look, in 2023, I can sell the 35 puts for $4. I can sell the 3750s for $5. I can sell the 40s for $6. So let's see. That would be net 34. That would be net 31. I don't mind owning Intel for 34, right? There's no penalty to that. It's $10 below the current price. What else could I sell? What if I sold the 45s for 9? Now that's interesting too. If I sell the 45s for 9, that's net 36. That was the sound of oil. That was the sound of the NASDAQ going even higher and hitting my other short calls. I mean, my short futures. So now we've averaged in where I want it to be, but meanwhile, the NASDAQ's going the wrong way. So is 36 a bad number? No, I don't mind paying 36. And let's check my math. So 45 minus 9 is 36. I have no problem paying that at all. What if I do 50 minus 12? That's 38. I do feel confident about that, but I think I feel better about 36. I think that's good. So now I'm at this point. So question is, how much Intel am I willing to own at $36? Well, 36 would give me a PE of like 6, 7. You know, so let's say 7. My PE would be 7. It's an incredibly good price. Even if they make a lot less money, my PE is still going to be 10. Even if they make 30% less money, my PE is going to be 10. So to me, that's like a freebie. So would I be willing to own 500 shares of Intel for 36 bucks? Of course I would. Would I be willing to own 1,000 shares of Intel for 36 bucks? Of course I would. $36,000. That's all it cost me. So then I say, okay, great. Then I can sell 10 of those short puts for $9. So I offer to sell, and again, it's at $8.50. The last sale was $8.70. You can take the $8.70, or I can just put it in for $9 and see if I get it. If I don't get it, what do I care? I'm happy to sell one of these other ones. Doesn't matter to me. So I just offer to sell them for $9. Then I say, okay, that's free money. So now I have $9,000 of free money. And my worst case is going to be owning Intel at the current price if I spend that free money. So I got $9,000 of free money. So what else am I going to do? Now I can say, okay, what am I going to do with 9,000 bucks? Well, I really think Intel is worth more than 45, but let's be conservative and say 50. So I can sell these $50 puts for $6.40. So if I sell those for $6.40, how much of a spread can I afford? I've got $9,000. So if I spend 9, I can get 10 of them. That would put me down around here. So do I want to be in the 32.50 spread? I could be in that for 10 of those. But now the question is, now what if I want to spend half of that money and have 20 spreads? Am I going to be better off or worse off? So now I can afford 20 of a 450 spread. So now I look down from 50. I've got the $6. I got 50s. I got $6.40 here plus 450 is $11. So who's $11? These guys basically. Well, certainly this one. So I could be in the 40-50 spread. So I can have 20 of the 40-50 spreads, or I can have 10 of the 32-50 spreads. Obviously, I'm going to make more money, assuming I get to 50, I'm going to make more money on 20 of the 40-50 spreads. And they're 50% in the money now. So that's how I make a decision. Then I say, well, that's a better price, and I'm very confident that I'm going to hit 50. And if I don't hit 50, I also know that I don't mind spending a little bit more money to roll my 40s, which are currently $11, down to the 35s, which are currently $13.50. So it would cost me $2.50 to make this roll now. So I know that if Intel goes lower, it's going to be less than $2.50 for me to make that roll. So if I can make that roll for $2, then I'm only spending, don't forget I'm spending net zero on this trade because we collected 9,000 here. We spent 9,000 here on 20 long. So I spent zero for a $20,000 spread. If I spend another $2,000, or I'm sorry, $2, if I spend another $4,000, if I spend $2 later to roll everything down to the 35s, then I've got a $30,000 spread that we would have spent net $4,000 for. So I'm already planning on what I'm going to do in the future. Am I happy to widen my spread by $10,000 and spend $4,000 to do that? Absolutely. Because again, I don't care how much people don't like Intel, I still want to own it. And that's how you set up a trade. And that's why I like Intel. It's not that I say, oh, Intel's going to beat AMD, Intel's whatever. I don't care. I care about the value of Intel, and it's not going to go down. It has nice liquid options, and we can make a spread that's going to make us on $0 is going to make us $20,000 if Intel's at 50. Or if Intel goes lower first, we'll spend $4,000 and have the 35-50 spread, which is a $30,000 spread for $4,000. And then I would only have to worry, because obviously we would have made that wider spread if it went down. Then I only have to hope Intel finishes higher than 45 to collect my full money. But even if it finishes at 40, we're going to make 20 times the, if it finishes at 40, it's because it went down. Remember that. So we would make 20 times the $5 spread up to from 35 to 40. That's $20,000, and we would owe $5,000 for the short puts on the short 45 puts. So that would be $15,000 net, and we would have spent $4,000 because we did the roll. So we'd still make $11,000 at 40. So in other words, and again, you have to understand what you're doing. Selling the 45, selling 10 45s for $9, right? So that's trade number one. Trade number two, the 40-50 spread, 20 of them for the same $9,000, for $450 each. We're gonna get 20 of those for $9,000. So that's my step number one. I spend zero on a $20,000 spread. If all goes well, boom, make $20,000. Now, if all doesn't go well, first of all, for sure I'm gonna get my $9 here. There's no question about that. Part two is for sure I'm going to be able to roll my 40s down to the 35s for another $4,000. So that's what I know is going to happen if Intel goes low. So if Intel goes higher, we make $20,000 for doing nothing. If Intel is flat at 45, we're going to be above here. This will be zero, and this will be 20 times 5. We make $10,000. So we're going to make $10,000 to $20,000 if Intel is over 45. That I know. Now, if Intel is under 45, it would have to be lower than it is now. So if Intel does go lower, I will roll my $40 calls, which cost me zero so far, down to the 35s. That's going to cost me $4,000, $2 a piece for 20 of them. So I'm going to now be in for $4,000. And then I have my 45 short puts. So at 40, I owe $5,000 for 10 of those, right? But I would collect from 35 to 40, I would collect money. If it goes down to 35, my worst case scenario is it goes down to 35, then this whole spread becomes worthless, assuming I never stop it out. I said I'm in for $4,000, and I own Intel at 45, but it's really 49 because I spent $4,000. So my worst case scenario is Intel is 49, Intel is 35. I mean, it could be lower, but I'm just saying. If Intel's at 35, I would own it at net 39 net 49. But then what would I do? I would double down. So if at 35 I double down, I got 35 plus, well, that's not a plus 49 divided by 2. I'd be in for net 42 on 2,000. So my worst case is being in for net 42. But I wouldn't necessarily double down. I might just sell more puts rather than doubling down and collect the money and sell some calls and lower my basis, blah, blah, blah. So even if I'm in for net 49 and Intel's at 35, I still have ways to deal with it. Like, in other words, if I was at 50, let's say I was in for 55 now, right? If I'm in for 55 now and Intel's at 45, what can I do? So in a previous time, I paid 55 for Intel, and now here's where we are, and I just got assigned it at 46. So I'm down $9,000 on my trade so far, and everything else got wiped out. And I never took it off the table. I never sold calls, never did anything proactive to prevent this from happening. So I say, okay, I've been to Intel for $46,000. I'm sorry, not 46,000. I'm into it for, if I had the 55 puts, I'm in for $55,000 plus, let's say I lost 5,000, so I'm in for $59,000, and it's only worth $46,000. What will I do? Well, I'd say, well, gee, okay, I am willing to double down on Intel at 46, but why don't I do that? Why don't I just do the same thing I'm talking about right now? Sell these for 9,000 bucks instead. So instead of doubling down, I sell 10 of these guys for $9. Now, what have I done? I've reduced my basis from 59 to 50, right? Now my basis is 50 because I had a net 59 entry. I sell 10 of these for $9,000. I've dropped my entry to net 50. So I sell those for 50. Now I say, okay, well, now I'm going to sell the 55 calls because I already own 1,000 shares of the stock. So I'm going to sell the 55 calls for $5. Now I've dropped my basis to 45. So I dropped my basis from 59 to 50 by selling the puts. Now I drop my basis to 45 because I now sell 10 of these calls. So now I'm in for 45,000. I'm going to get called away at 50,000. And if I get called away at 50,000, of course, the 45 puts are going to expire worthless. And so I make a clean $5,000. Is it ideal? It's not ideal, but that's what I do to lower my cost basis on Intel. So even when you do get screwed, I can still lower my cost basis considerably on the trade. And then if I don't get called away, I still took my cost basis from $59 to $45. And if every 2 years I can lower my cost basis by $10, that means that in 8 years, I'm going to own the stock for free. So if my and again, this goes back to why do I like Intel? Because if you're telling me that my worst case scenario is that 8 years from now, I'm going to own it for free. Do I want that stock? I say, yes, of course I want that stock. Do I think Intel is going to go bankrupt in the next 8 years? I think that's an incredibly low probability. And each time I'm leaving the room for myself to make the profit. Don't forget, and also we're talking about owning shares in this case. If I own the shares, I'm collecting a dividend too on top of that. So, you know, when I talk about I find a stock attractive, when I get excited about a stock and I make it a top trade or whatever, I do that because I think it's a good combination. It's a good way to take a risk. Not because I think the stock's going to go up 90%. We're options traders. We don't give a crap whether the stock goes up 90%. We care whether our option strategy pays off. That's what we want. We want to make sure we have a strategy that is very likely to pay us. Again, it's being the house, right? Steve Wynn doesn't run a blackjack table saying, "Oh, if only I can get this guy to bet on the, if only I can get this guy to not hit 21 ever, then I'm going to make this much money." No, that's not the bet. The bet is that statistically, a man sitting down with $10,000 on the blackjack table is going to walk away with $9,000 after 2 hours. That is the statistics. There's a certain percentage loss ratio, and there's a certain amount of hands per time. So in other words, here, show you. Wow, this is so hard. Okay. Odds of winning Vegas games. All right, what are the odds? Blah, 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 blah. Blackjack, house edge, 1 to 2%, okay? So, so every hand, you have a 1 to 2% chance of losing. So let's say it's 1% per hand. All right. That's what this is what the house is playing for. And you see how many blackjack tables there are, right? Because if you play a hand with $1,000 times 0.99, you have $990. I'm sorry, that's if you play. If you obviously you have to play that. So if you bet, so let's say you bet $100 per hand times 0.99, obviously you're going to lose $1. So the way Steve wins at blackjack is because every one of these people is going to lose $1. If these $100 bets, everyone loses $1. So what do they make? They make $5. Here's 5 people. Here's $5. That statistically is what happens. Now, does that happen every time? No. But the average loss is going to be $1 on every $100 you bet on the table. So what's their goal? Their goal is to get you to bet $100. And if you bet your $100, they're going to make $5. Then what's their secondary goal? That's why every single table you go to in almost every casino has machines, right? What are those machines there for? To deal faster. When you go to if you go to one of those Las Vegas, the gaming conventions, you know, where the people show you all the games and devices and blah blah blah. Those are fun too. They're cool to go to. You go to the gaming convention, and the operators who make these machines will tell you how many hands per minute, how many hands per hour, how many less miscues, and how much more hands you'll deal. Why do they care about that? Because this game is statistics. It's all about statistics. The more hands you play, the more money your people are going to lose. Sometimes they'll get blackjack, sometimes they'll get a split and they'll make a lot of money, sometimes they'll walk away with a stack, but the average statistical player is going to lose 1% per hand. And so if you want to maximize your return from your table, you want to deal as many hands as possible. And that's why you see these dealers like flip, 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 boom, flip, 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 boom, flip, 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 boom. They're looking to get a hand a minute, a hand every 2 minutes, whatever the number is, they want to get that. And if they're making $5 on a full table, the difference between doing 30 hands an hour, okay, which is going to be $150 an hour profit on the table, or doing 60 hands an hour, which is $300 from the table per hour, is a big freaking difference. That's what we do. We're doing the same thing. We are selling risk premium, and we're making money on each turn. And that's why I talk about we can lower our cost basis. Unfortunately, our turns take years to play out, but it is the same thing in slow motion, okay? We are going to make money on each turn, but the thing is, our house edge is not 1 or 2%. Our house edge is 10 or 20%. So, but we have to wait patiently, but we will make our money. That's the trick. We will make our money just like the casino will. Not every time, not every game. And there will be good streaks and bad streaks, but we will, over the long haul, make our money. And how do we make our money, though? Because you've got to know your edge. And when you bet a good, sensible blue chip stock not to go bankrupt, that's a good bet. That means everything else falls into place. All the other premium you sell, everything else you do with it will fall into place, because one thing you're counting on is a certain range, and that range includes not being wiped out. Sometimes you'll win, sometimes you'll lose, but you always have the same game to play. You can always reload and reset and keep playing. That's what this is all about. So blackjack, 1 to 2%. Craps, 1.4 to 5%. That very much depends on which ones you bet on. Roulette, 2.8%, 5.2% on a 00 table. You will lose twice as much money on a 00 table in roulette. They get worse. Slots, 3 to 20%. Wheel of Fortune, well, that's still a thing, 11%. That's crazy. Keno, those the biggest idiots in Vegas, right? So think about that. Keno, don't ever play Keno. That's rule number 1. Don't play Keno. Rule number 2, stay away from this thing, which are all over the airports, right? Those are all over the airports. Regular slots are not as bad as these guys. Or they can be, it just depends on how they set them. And then roulette, stay away from roulette, and especially stay away from a wheel with double zero. But even if you play this, you will lose 2.8% per spin. That's just insane, right? If you have $100, just give them $3. Don't play the game, just give them $3. Say thank you. You might win, but you probably won't. That's how these games work. Who is that, Monica? That's nice. Anywho, so that's what we're doing, right? Intel. I'm promising to buy your Intel for $45, the current price, in 2 years. You're going to give me $9. You're probably going to lose. I'm probably going to win. You're not really playing a game, though. You're buying an insurance policy, right? You're guaranteeing that Intel won't drop more than 20% on you in 2 years. It's already dropped 30, 40% this year, so you're worried it can drop another 20%. So you're taking an insurance policy. It's not an irrational bet on your part to give me $9 if you're playing it, because what you're doing is this. You think it's going to go up past 60. You're paying $9 to make sure it doesn't go lower, but you expect to make more than 55. So you think it's going to go over 55. So you're buying the stock, you're locking in $45 by paying $9. Means your effective cost is 55, right? You've effectively paid 55. You've guaranteed you're going to get 45 back. You can't lose more than 10 on this bet. Anything above that is your money. Now, you could buy the $45 call for $8.45. It effectively accomplishes the same thing. And this is why I never do that, because why would I do that? On the other hand, though, what I do is I'll sell the put to someone else. Like I never buy a put ever. Because why would I buy a put? If I'm going to buy something, I'll buy the call. At least I could sell a short call against it. Buying the put's crazy. If you don't think your stock is going to go up, why own it? What's the point? I mean, I guess you can make the argument for something like Tesla. So let's say you really believe that Tesla is going to be a $1,000 stock in a few years because electric, blah, 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 and self-driving, blah, 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 whatever. So you can buy Tesla for $400 and you can buy this is what I would do. I would buy it for $400 and I would sell the $500. See, the thing is the $400 put's $150, right? That's no good. If I were going to sell the put, I would sell the 500 put, buy. I'd buy the 500 put for $210 or $215. So instead of spending $145 to make sure it doesn't go lower than $400, I'm going to spend $215 to lock in $500. Now, it's only at $420. So $80 of my $215 is being spent on going higher to strike that I don't even have. So now I'm guaranteeing I can sell it for $500. The rest is a premium. But look at this. If I have Tesla at $420 and I sell the 500 put for $210, $215, whatever the hell the number is, I've now spent $435. So I've now spent $635. Sorry, I spent $635, and I know I'm going to get called away at $500. But now I can knock $100 off by selling the $700 calls. So let's say $105. So now we go from $635 to $530. So now my net, I bought the stock, I bought the short call, I bought the short put, the short $500 put, and I sold the $700 call. And now my net is let's make sure, in case I'm wrong. Okay, so I buy the stock for $420, okay? I sell No, I'm sorry, buy. Sorry, I buy. I buy. So plus 215 plus 215, 635. Okay. I have the short. I own the puts. I can force anybody to buy my stock for $500, but I spent 635. But now I can sell the $700 calls, so minus 105, 530. So I did that right. So now I've spent net $530 on Tesla, which is only 420. People don't think this way. And I understand it sounds like crazy, but that's where you have to bear with me on the logic. So I've spent $530 on Tesla, but I have the right to force you to buy it, force whoever I bought those puts from. I have the right to force them to buy it for $500. So I cannot lose more than $30. But how much can I make? Well, I sold the $700 short calls to some sucker who is basically paying me an effectively net $800 on this thing. But the bottom line is I can go up to $700. So what have I actually put in play here? I've only risked $30. That's all I'm risking is $30. I can't possibly lose more than 30, but I can make $170 profit. I can make up to whatever it is at $700. And again, that's without rolling or selling any other puts or doing anything else there. So my risk is 30. My potential reward is 170. So if I wanted to play it bullish, that's a reason. So that's one thing. There are reasons people will buy your short puts. You say, what kind of maniac would do that? That's a perfectly rational thought process for me to do that. Not that I would do that with Tesla, of course, because I think that's bullshit. But the point is that there is a logical way you could figure out how somebody would be happy to pay you that ridiculous amount of money for a short put. Now, you get back to it though, if you think about it, what's my logic? My logic is to say, well, why am I doing that? Why am I doing all that to make 170 when all I have to do is sell the 440 puts, which is where it is now, for 170, and then my net is 270. So my worst case is owning Tesla at 270. And if it's over 440, I make the same 170 that you make on this convoluted trade. And why is my trade better? Why is my, and you guys know that I don't do those stupid things, but I'm telling you why people do it. Because they're bullish on Tesla, they think it's going to go higher, they don't want to take too much of a risk, blah, blah, blah. So for $30, they can make 170. That's how they look at it. But you're also tying up a lot of money. Whereas all I'm doing by selling the 440 puts, I get the same $170 if it's over 500. If it's over 430, if it's over 440, I'm going to make money. I'm going to make money as long as it's over 370. I think we said 270. Anything over 270, I make some money. I'm only tying up the margin. How much margin? At most 270. Obviously, you know, if I had a IRA margin account, I'd still only be tying up 270 to make 170. That's still a good use of my margin, even if I'm being charged full margin. So why would I do this? Why would I tie up $500 when I can tie up 270? There's no logic to it. Not for me, not for us, because we know how to be the house. That's how we learn to play. Don't play the games that don't have good odds. There's ways to win. I wouldn't do this because I think Tesla could be lower than 270. I don't like to play, but if you're bullish on Tesla, what an easy way to make money. What's 170 divided by 270 is your maximum risk? 63%. Make 63% in 2 years. That's a good way to make money. What's my problem with it? I don't believe in the stock at all. But it makes a lot of money. It's an incredible play if Tesla actually does stay above 270, if they avoid going down almost 50%. and it's a great play. Plus, you can roll it. So, I mean, if you're a believer in Tesla, why not, right? Looking at what's going on in the market. Let's see. How are we doing? Futures trader. Active trader. Oh, look at that. See? $1,800. See how nice that is? Why? Conviction. It's all you have to do. Play intelligently. I entered the trade. It was down a bit. I entered another trade that balanced it out. And now, take it off. So wait, we're down to, so now we want to, oop, frick. Thing flies around, doesn't it? Here it is. There you go. Lock in the gain. I don't like the way it's going up. So lock, get out. Here you go. Wait, why 270? What the frick? I don't know what just happened. It was up $1,800. So I think it's a limit thing. Anyway, but you know, you put in the you put in your bids, and you wait for your price. You stick with your conviction, and you let it go. You don't stare at it constantly. Just make intelligent plays where you have a high risk reward ratio. That's how you do these things. And the same thing goes, by the way, when you're buying it, when you're buying a put or call. Oh, hey, here's something I bet you guys don't know. Watch this. Trade all products. What do we say we wanted to sell? The 440s, right? Here you go. Copy. Okay. Then you go to active trader, the same thing. And then I paste. There's the option. And that the same way you trade a futures play, if I can get to the right spot. Oh, for God's sake. There should be a bid and ask somewhere. Maybe it's too thinly traded. But anyway, the same way you put in a limit here, which obviously I don't have a limit, so I'm not going to do it. My limit's aren't set. Oh, because the stupid thing reset itself. God damn. They changed the thing and it reset all my limits. I got to fix all this stuff. Very annoying. All right. Anyway, so the same way you set limits. So this is from 11/4, which is today. So this was done today at 12:45. Not that long ago. Obviously, the stock moves like crazy in between. But you can do this. You can set this up to keep it what you're doing. And you can see what's realistic. Oh. So we're at 12:40. If I want to magnify this a little bit, where were we at 11? Right here. So we were higher by $3 then. So now we're lower. Therefore, the price of this put should be higher than it was at that time, which means I should be able to expect to get $1.80, not $1, whatever the hell. Oh, there it is. See? So now I see that there are, in fact, you see, I just use my logic. Oh, man, why'd you do that? So I just use my logic to figure out what it should be. And there's one person offering to buy and a lot of people offering to sell puts. So if I want to buy a put, I can easily buy a put at that price. Damn. Behave yourself. There you go. All right, so I can easily buy at 177.95. So I could buy the put if I wanted to. But like I said, you can use the same thing by you cut from here, you go to the all products, you go here, and one of your choices when you right click, it brings up this menu and says copy, right? You copy that and you paste it into your trading chart right there. And then you're going to have the option. It's going to treat yourself just like a futures contract. and you can then put in your bids. So it saves you a lot of buzzing around with the other stuff. Very useful because you can see exactly where the bid ask is. You can decide where you want to be, or you can set a limit on it. Just put it in there, which is very useful when you're trying to sell. And just like before, when this thing buzzed off on me and it gave me the fill, it gives you the fill. You walk away, it gets you, and you get your fill. But you just have to think of the mechanics of how you're filling yourself. You want to fill. Obviously, you want to fill by setting the limit and creating your position piece by piece by piece so that it makes sense. Keep yourself balanced in the way you think it's going to go. So if I'm doing Tesla right now, it's down in the channel, and I would play it. If the market is still strong, I say, oh, look, it keeps bouncing off 420. So therefore, I would play it now for a bounce. If I'm going to play it for a bounce and I want to buy a put, got to remember what you're doing. I'm buying a put. I'm playing for the bounce. That means I would underbid where the contract is. So I think I can do better. I think if it goes back to 425, and I can, by the way, I can pull this back. Well, I can't. I can get a history on this. What day was this? 10:30. That's a few days ago. So at one point it was 188. I don't want to pay 188. So if Tesla goes higher, I should get lower price. And so I say, oh, realistically, I think we're going to go up $5, and then I can go I can go here and I can say, well, what's the price of the next $5 option? So this one is 178. He's 167. He's 169. But those are $10 moves. So basically, this is 11, and this one is well, that's the same price. That's 11. Figure you should probably get at least $3, $4 difference for a $5 move. So I go back to here again now, and I say, okay, so if I'm going to get a $3 or $4 price cut, that means I should be able to pay 175. So I would put in my offer at 175 and see if it fills. That's all. I say, what do I want to accomplish? I think this is going to go up a bit, and I think as it goes up, somebody will be willing to sell me their put for 175. Why? Because Tesla's going up and the put becomes less valuable. And that's how I fill it. You always want to fill things. You want to treat it like it's a day trade. And look at this. Look how solid this line's been all the way back to yesterday, right? So of course I'm going to play it for the bounce. It's all these little skills and all these tricks that we go through. That's like they all build on each other, and they can help make you a better trader by just using it. That's why, you know, futures trading is actually just good practice for being able to fill your options better. YN RTY. Russell has not been performing that well today. And this should be ES. So SK says Biden's leading in all those states. Really? I didn't know he was doing good. I didn't know that was. I've seen the current things. But anyway, yeah. So people don't understand about this election thing. Is that you know all the mail-in voting. Don't forget Trump was telling people not to mail in their ballots. So a lot, you know, so Trump was telling people not to. The Democrats were telling people to mail in their ballots, vote early, and get everything done. The Democrats wanted those ballots mailed in. The Republicans did not. And a lot of that open tampering with the mail systems and things like that, that was the Republicans discouraging people from mailing in their ballots. Why? The less people that mail in their ballots, the more crowded they are on election day for live voting, and the more crowded it is, the more discouraged people will be, and the less people vote. And the less people that vote is better for the Republicans. They don't want a lot of people voting. They've got armies of fanatics. Those people will go out in any conditions and vote. So they count on their people being more fanatical than Democrats. But anyway, so the bottom line is the people who did vote often, the Democrats vote often, people who voted early, vote often. That's always good too. The people who did vote early were mostly Democratic, and that's why Trump was trying to stop the count last night, because he doesn't want them counting all the ballots. Because all these late ballots, all this late counting going on is very, very heavily favoring Biden. So it's still very possible he wins this thing. I mean, and also you have to think that like it's the rural voters who have like 10,000 people in their county. They vote and they count them and they send the result in. It's done. Philadelphia's got 2 million people in the city. They have nowhere near an adequate amount of people counting ballots and stuff like that. It takes them 3 days to count. A lot of big cities are democratic like that. It takes them forever to count up all these ballots and get it done right. So that's a long process. And those are Biden votes. So those are overwhelmingly Biden votes, to the point where Trump gets worse and worse and worse as the time goes on. He knows that from 2016. That's what happened to him also. But this is much worse. It's magnified 100 times because of the virus. So we will see. Doesn't seem to be bothering the markets though. But Biden's going to hopefully make a comeback, and we'll get rid of Trump at least. But we're still stuck with the Republicans in the Senate. So we'll see. Or we're stuck with Trump for 4 more years, and the world ends. So that's okay. Either way. Bernie says Apple is a good time for a new position if it drops back to 110. I don't agree. We talked about this last week, didn't we? Apple is Intel. What is a good short-term caller to sell now? Short call. We just did this. Honestly, oh, maybe that's a question from before. Because I think it pretty much chalked that to death. Apple. Well, forget this. The problem with Apple is it's a $2 trillion company. And again, you're being unrealistic. You're looking at a chart and saying, oh, well, up and down, whatever. No, it's a $2 trillion company. Now, a $2 trillion company that makes $50 billion a year is only trading at 40 times earnings. But that's still a lot of money. Apple's trading at 35 times earnings because they're making like $600 billion, $60 billion a year. I don't know, whatever that works out to. I mean, Jesus, if you think about it. So they're making $2,000 billion, or I'm sorry, they valued at $2,000 billion. You divide that by 35, and they're making $57 billion. That's how much they're making. So Apple makes $57 billion. They have to make 60, 70, basically 70, they're going to make $70 billion. So 2,000 divided by 70 is 28 times earnings. Okay, if we want to get them to 20 times earnings, they have to make $100 billion. They're only making $57 billion now. They have to double their sales to make $100 billion. And that's going to get them to 20 times earnings at $2 trillion. When are they going to do that? How are they going to do that? Who's buying all this stuff? Where's this money going to come from? It's hard when you're as big as Apple to double up because they already sell phones to everybody on the planet. We have to open up a new planet. It doesn't, you can't just say, oh, are you going to wipe out all phone competition? Are there going to be nobody's going to use anything but Apple? No. Okay. Are we going to double the price of phones? Probably not. No, that's not going to work either. So can't double the price of phones, can't wipe out all the competition. Are we going to be able to drive costs down 50%? Probably not. So that's 3 things that are not going to happen with the iPhone. So now we have to say, okay, how else is Apple going to make money? Well, you got Apple TV, you got Apple Music, you got other services, you got the apps. Okay, good. How are those going to expand? Well, the problem with Apple TV, Apple Music, and so on and so forth is that they already have half the phone users in the world are already using their phones. They're already using the App Store. They're already doing this and that. You can see the pushback on the apps and the people. There's a whole war they had with the Fortnite company over the cost of the apps. They're going to court. They're having lawsuits, blah, blah, blah. You can't see that as an easy path to double up. So there are no easy paths to double up. And if there's no easy ways that you can see Apple doubling up and they're valued extremely aggressively right now, then therefore they're not a good buy. That's it. End of story. Don't care how much you like them. Intel's the opposite. I can't see Intel going lower. How much less value can you place on a company that makes $20 billion a year? And let's keep that in mind. Apple makes $57 billion a year and has a $2 trillion valuation. Intel makes $20 billion a year, and that's not Intel. Intel makes $20 billion a year. That's 1/3 of what Apple makes. Yet they're priced at $200 billion. They're priced at 1/10 of what Apple's priced at. So why would I buy Apple instead of Intel? There's no logic. You're only saying, I like Apple. Apple's cool. I think Apple's great. There's no reason for it, though. Not when there's you have a comparative use of your money. You're not buying it for the rational reasons. You're not buying it because it's a value. You're not buying it for what it can produce. All right? You want to make you want to make a big argument about how Apple is worth so much more than Intel that you're going to pay 10 times more. You pay, well, I mean, on a valuation basis, you're basically paying 3 times more on a cost earnings basis for Apple than Intel. And is Intel 1/3 as good as Apple? Is Apple 3 times better than Intel? Intel has lots of room to grow. All these things that you think Apple might move into require more and more chips. And by the way, Apple just dumped Intel. That's one of the reasons Intel is so down. It's because Apple dumped Intel as a supplier. They're starting to make their own chips. So you say, oh, there's the source of revenue, but not really, because Apple's making chips to save money, not to make money. They're not selling their chips to other people. They're just paying less money for their chips. Yes, there's some internal savings there, but it's not really like they're becoming a chip manufacturer and making chip money. Intel is still going to supply everybody else. And the more stuff that they make and the more things that require chips, the more Intel stuff you're going to see. You know, you got robot vacuum cleaners running around with Intel chips in them now. I mean, they keep opening up new ideas on how to put chips in things. Could you imagine the waste, the toxic waste that we must be creating, like all these microchips that we put in all these things that are disposable? My pool cleaner had a chip in it. You know, there was a robot that would go around the pool and had a chip in it that would learn the pool and learn how to clean it better. Anyway, so what was the question? So Intel, what's a good short-term call to sell now? I wouldn't sell a short-term call on them right now. I would buy the long position. I would wait for it to move up. And when Intel gets more fully valued, when Intel's like around 55, then I might sell the $60 calls or something like that. But why sell it now? It's so clearly mispriced at this part of the channel. You know, and again, it goes back to the difference between buying Intel and buying Apple. Where's Apple? Are you going to buy at this part of the chart, or are you going to buy at this part of the chart? Here, I mean, here you might want to sell a call because you spent too much. Here, you don't need to sell a call because you got a bargain. There's no, I mean, at some point you got to put your foot down and say, I will pay that price. You know, we talked about a spread before, but that's the idea. It's just to lower your cost basis to something ridiculous. That's fine. But you don't have to. I'm just talking about how you can be conservative and play these things. But right now, I'd be aggressive, and I know you got money. So I would be a little bit more aggressive than that with this one. And there's still plenty of cheap stocks. There's still Pfizer is still pretty cheap. AT&T is still crazy cheap. We talked about China Mobile before. Look at AT&T, 27 under 27.50. China Mobile, $32. These are great things. And we had whoops. Look at the top trades we've done recently. China Mobile. There's China Mobile. We had Goldman Sachs, which I imagine is doing well. Actually, the financials just had a bad day. See how they look. Yeah, they're holding up. So we had Goldman Sachs, IBM. What's that from October 12th? IBM. Oh, no improvement there. So still playable. You know, it's not hard to find things to trade, is it? They're all in the top trade alerts. Jets. Oh, that was interesting. How is the futures now? Futures now is 67% then. I forget all these trades. Oh, Jets is still chugging along. See, but no big improvement yet. We had EPD. Oh, see, no changes. Nothing exciting going on. But the way we structure them, of course, we don't care. We just pick the bottom. Here's EPD. This was a dividend play. So, you know, we were like, buy 1,000 shares of EPD for $15.92. And it's now at $16.90. So it's up a bit. All right. Sell the 13 puts, sell the 15 calls. We played it to be 15. We didn't even play it to be $15.92. What do we do? Net 10,700 on a $15,000 spread. So 50% upside plus the dividend. What's wrong with that? Nice, safe, conservative play on a stock that's actually trading at a discount. Here's Pfizer and AT&T. We talked about those. Had LNG back then. That was a good one too. Here's Viacom. You guys know I was banging the table on Viacom all year. I think it got away from us now, right? Oh, yeah. Still good, still cheap, but, you know, not, I mean, it's, you know, it's a shame after it was ridiculous. It was 15 bucks. You guys got sick of me talking about it. Really, Viacom all the time. I'm like, I'm sorry. If something's a great buy, every time somebody, what's a good buy? Viacom. Here's T again. There's Macy's, like China Mobile. SPG is good. Signet took off already. Too late on that one. Here's SKT, who I love. WBA, still love them. I think they took off though now. It's not like you can't find things to buy. I don't know. They're still bad. Look at that. So it's not like you can't find things to buy. I mean, this is a very good watch list, just these top trade alerts. August 14th. So right here, my last WBA pick was August 14th at about 40. They had a dip since then. Now they're back at 36. So, you know, just go through the things, figure out what didn't work out and buy those. This is an incredibly stupidly underpriced stock. So, you know, and it's almost time. It's going to be November. It is November. Jeez, it's already November. So it's time for me to make my trade of the year pick. And I got to go back through these guys and figure out who's going to be the trade of the year. So this year it was gold. Last year it was IBM. So GOLD. Well, that went well. So this year it was gold, and last year was IBM, which has been you know, we got out of it last year. I'm talking about way back here. It was IBM, and I mean, that was our goal, was 150. So we actually killed that trade when it got to here, and we killed gold too. We took that off the table. So this year it's probably going to be one of those. So I mean, I'm going to be looking through that chart and saying, who is it? It's probably, I got to think about China Mobile. Pfizer is a good one. And again, it's not because I think Pfizer is going to go up drastically, but the point is, the trade of the year is a stock, the trade that is most likely, highest percentage in my mind of getting to 300%, of constructing a 300% play. Pfizer, I think you have to get a bigger picture on them. Nah, they're not. I mean, they're not as cheap as they were. But Pfizer, in the grand scheme of things, okay, is a good steady payer. Nah, it's not. It's not going to qualify. Because Pfizer was at 30, I would want it more, but it's not. It's not good enough to be the trade of the year. It's almost there though. But the point is, I know Pfizer is going to be over 35. So when I can take a Pfizer trade, it's not about whether it's going to go up or down. It's about how sure I can make a trade that's going to pay off. So I say Pfizer, I'm fearless about selling that. I have no doubt in my mind that selling that is fine. So I'm going to sell these guys for $325. So let's say, it doesn't matter. Let's say 10 for $3,250. Then I say, okay, well, is Pfizer going to hold 30? Like, well, of course it's going to hold 30. And then I could say, okay, well, then I got these for $9. And I got these for $13. It's $4 on a $5 spread. That's not very sexy, but if you think about it, if I'm selling these guys, if I'm selling the $30 puts for $325, and I'm buying the 25-30 bull call spread, well, let's say 28.33. Let's go 28.33. So if I took the 28s for 10, sold the 33s for 7, that's $3 on the $5 spread. But what I do these for these we sold for $3, more than $3. So if I do 20 of those, then I'm spending $6,000 for the spread, which is a $10,000 spread. But I'm subtracting $3,000 for the sale of the short puts. So it'd be the short 30 puts, 10 of those, and then 20 of the 28.33 spreads. So my net is going to be less than $3,000, and it's a $10,000 spread. So we're going to make how much? We're going to make $7,000, which is 233%. And all Pfizer has to do is stay above $33, and we make 233%. It's a good trade. It's not good enough to be the stock of the year, but it's a damn nice way to make 233% in 2 years, right? What am I betting? I'm betting that Pfizer is going to stay above 33. It's not going to drop more than 10% over the next 2 years. That's my bet. And I get paid 233% for being right about that. That's what being the house is. We're selling a bunch of premium to other suckers. We're not paying premium. We're buying a $10 spread that's 100% in the money for $3. That's not paying premium. We're buying 2 sets of those, and then we're offsetting the cost by selling the short puts. So I'm committing to buying Pfizer for $30, or really 33 because we're spending $3,000 on the trade. So we're committing to buying Pfizer for $33 for 1,000 shares. A worst case scenario, we end up losing the $3,000, and we get assigned at 30. And we own Pfizer for 33. So our worst case is owning Pfizer for a 10% discount. And our best case, our easy best case, is if Pfizer doesn't go below 33, we're going to make 270%. We're going to get $10,000 back on the spread. And what's your margin requirement going to be? Your margin requirement is going to be 3,000, and whatever whatever this is, 20% of that, probably going to be about a few $1,000 for the margin. Very efficient. If you don't have portfolio, even if you have portfolio though, 27,000, you're going to make 7,000. That's a good return. Not majestically great, but it's a good return. So if you have an IRA, you can make those kind of trades too. And if you make 10% a year tax-free in the IRA by making dopey trades like that, why not? So why chase these high-flying stocks? Why run around going after these kind of returns when they're not realistic? Why take any risk? These casino guys don't take risks. They play games that are statistically in their favor. When they see a risk, they say, no, thank you. I'll just keep playing the game that's going to pay me a steady 1%. If you learn to do that, you'll become as rich as Steve Wynn. Don't be a gambler. That's the whole point of what we try to teach people. Don't be a gambler. Be the guy who knows how to take a proper risk. All right. How are we doing? All good. Okay, boy, oil's really taking off. Look at it, 39.16. Holy crap. Gasoline, $1.12. See, there's no way to bet on these. There's no logic, rationale. I mean, OPEC said they were going to possibly extend cuts or even go deeper on the cuts. So that's what boosted gasoline back up. Natural gas is its own animal, not controlled by OPEC, obviously. The dollar is still pretty weak. That's boosting the markets a lot. And the markets themselves are basically overpriced. Oh, see, that happens every time. YM. All right, so my final prediction, Joe Biden will become the president. Donald Trump will fight it all the way to the Supreme Court, and then he'll have a temper tantrum that the judges he picked don't back him up. Oh, Wisconsin for Biden. There you go. See? Thank you. All right. So where's the top trade on the site? What is a good short-term caller for Apple? No, again, with Apple, I don't think you should be in it. So, I mean, it's a good short-term caller. It's one that's pretty tight. I think it's going to go lower. If you're in it, just keep a tight rein on it. Let yourself get caught away and make a little bit of money. Okay, so I've got to run this thing down just for edification. The top trade tab is at the top. See, Phil's latest top trades right there. And there's also, oh no, there is one here. What do you know? We don't have a tab like that. It's only this thing on the top right corner. All right, thank you everybody for coming. Appreciate it. Have a lovely week. Enjoy your new president, and I will see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys.